It actually took me 8 years to write this book, okay? So you know it was painstaking. It was just a story really about how tough it was to be black in America. And I read it, it resonated with me, but I said this is just another book about being black in America. Did a lot of reflection, and in looking back, I realized the healthiest ways I had dealt with race in my life was to tap my spirituality. Now, I happen to be a member of the Baha'i faith, and so my spirituality comes out of that tradition. But we all have a sense of spirituality. Everybody's got that essence in them. And so I felt like I had to tap my spirituality. And when I say spirituality, I'm not talking about one particular religion. I'm talking about a depth of consciousness, ability to tap a higher source, to transcend sometimes seemingly horrific pain and go to another place. I started looking at some of the experiences that I shared, the painful experiences, the anger, which is in there. The anger, the experiences I've had, the frustration about the hypocrisy I see about race, it's all in there. And I felt like I had to tell that truth. But I also felt like I had to say, but there's a way to deal with it. If we're going to be a healthy society, there's a way we as black people have to deal with it. There's a way that white people have to deal with it. Both tapping their spirituality, but for different reasons. I think that it is emotionally impossible and spiritually possible to solve the race problem, because I say that our emotions around race have been hijacked by the pain and by the suffering, and we're triggered. We're constantly triggered. Our emotions are triggered, and we respond to each other in these knee-jerk ways because there's so much pain, and we keep staying in that pain and trying to deal with it through that pain. When I look at a white person as an example, when I come into contact with a white person, my first instinct, and this is just honest, is to be suspicious, right? It's to be, because my emotional experiences, my patterns with many white people have, for a period of time, has indicated that sooner or later they're going to demonstrate some kind of prejudice. So on an emotional level, you know, if I'm just responding emotionally, I'm going to just have that suspicion constantly. But if I start to say, all right, I need to look at this person individually, I need to look at this person, and this sounds hokey, really as a creation of God, as somebody who may be imperfect, but I want to see the good in that person. I want to reflect the good, and I want to open my heart to this person on a spiritual basis, as another human being, not a white human being, but a human being. Now, to get there, I have to be prayerful, I have to meditate, and I have to take myself to that place where I can look at a person. And it's not, there's no magic to the spirituality, it's a conscious choice. So for example, we can say, oh, I love the way Dr. King did this. I mean, it was, how could he just return love for all that hate? How could he just sit there and be, how could he do that? He had to be afraid. So what caused him to be able to transcend that fear and still do it? Obviously, he took himself to another place. He was relying on something else, right? And we look at that and we admire that. And we say, oh, God, that's great. That's what we need to do. But okay, so I say in the book, it's people like this, we admire the qualities in them, but often fail to choose them for ourselves. Spirituality is about faith. Do I believe people have goodness in them? You see, that's not a cliche. You know, when it gets down to it and you're looking at somebody you might think is racist and you're saying to yourself, I believe they have good in them. That's spirituality at its highest, okay? And so I got to believe when I'm looking at that white person who may not even be kind to me at all, that if I put good energy out toward that person, ultimately that's going to have the most effect in the long run. And even if it doesn't, I put good energy into the universe. I haven't added to the negativity of the universe. All religions say that. Love will conquer what? Hate.